Anime onlys, I'm just going to be straight up with you. Get ready for a lot of cliffhangers in your future. If there's one thing this series is really known for, it's known for the promised cliffhangers. Because when chapters came out every single week in Weekly Shonen Jump, every time a new chapter come out, it would end on a cliffhanger to where you just have so much tension, so much suspense, you didn't know what was going to happen next. And so, if you think this cliffhanger's bad, you haven't seen anything, because it is about to get a lot worse as things start to get a little bit faster with the plot, and, the escape plan really goes underway. But, yeah, get used to the cliffhangers. But anyways, let's talk about Rei and Norman's interaction. Now, it is officially confirmed in this episode that Rei was the traitor. Norman wasn't the traitor, no one else was the traitor, it in fact was Rei. And to kind of clarify this, later on, after Norman and Rei's conversation, Rei does confront Isabella, and, he reveals that he truly is in contact with her, talking about, the escape plan. So, yes, Rei is the traitor. So what does this mean? Well, let's look at what Norman said. Norman's like, the worst case scenario, if whoever was the traitor, it would be Rei. Because out of the main cast of characters, or out of everybody in this farm, Rei is probably the most dangerous. Because Norman knows for a fact he's not the traitor. Because, he's the one that's helping out Emma. And he knows Emma's not a traitor because of how her personality is and how much he loves her. So, he knows for a fact that Emma will not be the traitor. He knows he's not because he's obviously not doing anything. And so he is like looking at Rei because he would be the worst case scenario because he's so intelligent, he's such a realist that, if he really wanted to, he could mess up Emma and Norman's plans for escaping with relative ease because of just how he is. So Norman having to trick Rei showed once again that Norman is an intelligent individual. He is, in a lot of ways, a realistic like Rei, but like I said earlier on in this series, his weakness is Emma, which once again is shown in this episode, which let's talk about that. See, Rei's like, so now that you know about me, now that you know I'm a traitor, you're going to cut me out of the escape plan. That's what Rei mentions to Norman. And that was the thing there. Norman's like, normally, I would cut you out of the escape plan. But because of Emma and how she thinks people can change and we're not all relatively bad, just circumstances, then most likely I'm going to allow you to still stay a part of the crew to escape. And so, once again, Norman, he decided to use, or go against his better judgment to believe in Emma. Which, once again, Emma is his weakness, his kryptonite. He will do illogical things for Emma, because in normal circumstances, regardless of Rei potentially spying on Isabella and giving information for Norman and Emma, it doesn't change the fact that it's still a very dangerous game to play with a traitor, and Norman normally probably would have completely cut Rei out, but like I said, didn't happen, but he did something illogical because of Emma. Now let's look at what the conversation was about. One of the big things about the combo was that Rei will start giving up everything he knows. He will give up everything he knows about, Isabella at the farm and all that to Norman and Rei. That was one of the deals between them both working together for the time being, even though Rei is still technically a traitor. And even though Rei's going to give up all information, he's like, I'm willing to do all this. I'm willing to be your double spy and all that, a double agent. If you promise me you leave everybody behind and just the main crew, Norman and Emma, get out of here. Dawn and Gilda, maybe. But overall, the only people that can escape is the main kids. The younger kids and all of that have to be left behind. And so that was a deal that Rei made with Norman. And obviously Norman's going to have to respect this if he wants to be able to get the job done. Because you don't play with a traitor. If a traitor has everything set up and he's willing to help you out, you best go along with what he's saying too. You're playing a very dangerous game. So, what is Norman going to do? Is he going to defy Rei, and is he going to try to get the kids out? Or is he going to leave them behind, defy Emma, to be able to get everybody out, but at the cost maybe a lot of people will die? There's a lot of questions you can get from this, and one of the big things that you notice how this plagues Norman is he has a nightmare. After this entire exchange with Rei, Norman has a nightmare about everybody dying, Emma dying as well, and it just shows that he has so many people on his mind right now. He's worried about everybody's life, and he doesn't want them just to drop dead. And he's got to figure out a way to, once again, keep Emma happy, but also try to not make it to where Ray is angry, to where he will continue helping them out. So how's he going to do this? He's got to kind of fool both sides. He's got to fool Ray and Emma to try to figure out what plan he needs to do. Which, by the way, can we talk about also what, was implied by Ray? I don't know how many of you noticed this, but it was kind of up in your face. It was implied through Ray himself in this episode when he's like, Emma and Norman could get out. They need to be able to leave in a certain amount of time. He's been planning for a long time to get them out of here, which was revealed. Norman kind of implies, like, wait a minute, I noticed you are not mentioning yourself. That's kind of what he was saying. So when you think about it, there is something weird going on there. There is something weird going on with Ray and potentially this escape plan to get him out of there, which I'm not going to go any further. It was kind of hinted at in this episode, kind of like in your face, so there you go, I'm going to end that part of the discussion right there. But, anyways, let's talk about Ray's knowledge. So, apparently Ray has been working with Isabella and has known the truth for about 5 to 6 years, which I believe he's age 11 right now. I could be wrong there, but he's age 11. And if that is the case, 5 to 6 years back, he's around the age of 5 or 6 when he found out the truth. That's a very young age. It was a really young age to be able to find out the truth about the demons, find out the truth about, them all being in a farm. He never told anyone. So he's been fighting this lonely fight for many years by himself. And every time someone got sent off, he knew they died. They were gone. And so you gotta imagine the pain and the struggle he's had to go through to get to this very point, to be able to finally get some people out of the farm. Which, by the way, he reveals to Norman that he has had special privileges. Because of him being a spy for Isabella, and basically being like the sheepdog that herds everybody up, keeps them in line to where they don't want to escape, he gets toys. Isabella orders certain things for him, and because of this, you have it to where Ray has been able to probably experiment with things to potentially get rid of the trackers, see what he can bring in. Nothing too dangerous, obviously, which, by the way, he has figured out how to disable a tracker, which let's get into that. Emma does something very creepy in this episode, which is something that's really eerie about her. It kind of reveals that there's more to Emma than meets the eye. She is not someone that is just a typical naive protagonist. Even though she's presented as a naive girl that wants to save everybody, like, a typical shonen protag, what she did towards Ray in this episode showed a side to her that was very reminiscent of Gon from Hunter x Hunter, if you've ever watched that series. And she showed a face to Ray like she was really angry, like, you try anything again, I will never forgive you. That's kind of what she did to Ray. She looked at him with straight up menacing eyes, like she was going to end him if he tried anything crusty ever again. And she even asked Ray, so did you sacrifice someone to get the knowledge for the trackers? Did you have to do that? Which implies that maybe Ray had to do that. Who really knows? But Emma really cut through the chase. When it comes to her family and how much in danger they're potentially in, she got straight to the chase with Ray and wanted to know the answers, which Ray obviously managed to get a past his slide, but Ray is probably a little bit worried about Emma. She definitely showed something that many are really not used to. So, what else is there really to talk about? I guess let's talk about how Isabella found out about Sister Crone. So once again, Ray was the one that was feeding the information to Isabella about Sister Crone and, kind of what's going on. For instance, what she's doing. Is she starting to move? Is she doing anything? How much does she know? Ray was the one that was tipping off Isabella on Sister Crone, which is something Sister Crone would never expect, because someone spying on Sister Crone doesn't make sense, because it was only supposed to be Isabella and her kind of really knowing the truth. So Crone, she was never ready for an outside party to be spying on her and relaying information to Isabella. So Crone is kind of fighting a 2v1 at the moment. It makes you wonder, is she going to be able to get an upper hand, or is her cards stacked against her? Like, can she not do anything at all against, the unstoppable might of Isabella and Ray? Now, before I wrap this video up, let's talk about Dawn and Gilda at the end. Dawn is a very irrational person. It's clear as day for his actions at the end of the episode. When he decides to step in, look for the secret room and all that without everybody else's consent, it's nerve-wracking, because he's going to potentially jeopardize everyone to just prove a point or just get things quicker. And the main issue, the underlying issue right now, is that he believes there's hope. He believes that there is hope for, all these children. People have been shipped out. He believes there's hope for them to still be alive. But in reality, we know the truth. He doesn't, which is starting to come back and bite Emma, Norman, and Ray. So, yeah, here's the point. The point is that Don is doing something very dangerous, and what will happen if he is discovered? Will he get discovered? Who is walking in the door? Who really knows? But that's the big point I wanted to point out. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. Because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you do want to get notified, please hit that bell icon down below. And with that, I love you guys. Chibi out.